Hello, I'm Dr. Stephen Andrew Missick. I'm running for Texas State Representative in HD18. I live in San Jacinto County in Shepherd, and I pastor King of Saints Tabernacle Church in Cleveland, Texas. HD18 covers Liberty and San Jacinto counties, East Montgomery County, and Hardin County. The biggest problem we face in HD18 is Colony Ridge. What is Colony Ridge? Well, Ernest Bales created Colony Ridge with a piece of legislation. Ernest Bales, the incumbent, created Colony Ridge, Terrenos, Houston with a piece of legislation called HB 4341. It created an MMD, which stands for a Metropolitan Management District, but it's not a Metropolitan Management District. But Ernest Bales created this for his friend, or his friends, Trey and John Harris. And basically, this so-called housing development is an independent fiefdom, a fiefdom ran by Trey Harris. And apparently, he can do whatever the hell he wants. And this development, if that's what you want to call it, is not built up to standard. It's not built up to regulation. It's not built up to code. So they have been exploiting the people of Liberty County and San Jacinto County. Trey Harris looks at this area and says, well, this is a vulnerable area. These people, it's economically distressed. I'm going to go in there and I can do whatever I want. I can exploit the people there. And then, if that's not bad enough, he can cut corners and do whatever he wants. If that's not bad enough, he caters to mostly illegal aliens. In fact, he advertises to bring illegal aliens to this area to settle. And we don't even know how many people are there. People estimate 75,000. And Ernest Bales goes around. I've debated him because I ran against him the last election, and he goes to these teachers unions and says, vote for me, I'm growing our schools, we're the fastest growing school district in the country because of Colony Ridge, we're going to build more and more schools, we're going to have more school bonds, more money for us. That's what he's saying, pretty much. So they think they have, by cutting corners and exploiting the people of Liberty County and undocumented people, by exploiting them, they can make a quick buck. They can quickly enrich themselves at the detriment of, well, the illegal aliens who are being exploited and the population of this area. And I've been out campaigning and I interact with people, and there's people whose family have lived here for generations that have left to a neighboring, from Liberty County, going to one of the neighboring counties, or are planning to leave because it's not safe anymore. There are reports of cartel activities going on. The Gulf and Sinaloa cartels have set up shop here. But there's many problems with Colony Ridge. But a couple of the problems are environmental in nature. And I'd recommend you watch the reporting. There's several videos by Wayne Dolcefino showing raw sewage being pumped into the topsoil. Raw sewage being pumped. Human feces and urine pumped into the public waters that ultimately goes to the drinking waters of this area. And Trey Harris is being given special privileges to do this. He's not held accountable. They don't apply the code to him. They don't apply regulations to him. He can pollute all he wants with impunity because he got these carve-outs from State Representative Ernest Bales. So let's look. I want to recommend go to reduceflooding.com, and we're going to look at the damage from flooding. I was driving that area, and just is an area I've driven through there. I've lived in this area for over 30 years, and all of a sudden I'm driving this road and it's flooded, and it causes my car to skid off into the mud, and I started sinking. It took several vehicles and heavy chains to pull me out. And it's like, what's going on in this area? This hasn't happened here before. It's because of environmental damage caused by Colony Ridge. One of the things I'm going to get this. I'm going to put it out to you because I went to an event, and it's Congressman Babin is the congressman of that area, and I don't think he's happy with what's going on there. But you also have Morgan Luttrell. Morgan Luttrell came to Cold Spring for Republican meetings. I was there and I was listening to him talk, and he was talking about, he flew a helicopter to see the blight of Colony Ridge on the environment. It's visible from above. You fly in a helicopter, it's like, oh my, what in the world is that? It's horrible. That's Colony Ridge. You can see it, this huge eyesore and destruction, the scar on the face of Liberty County from helicopters. And many people have gone and viewed it from helicopter. And I'm going to try to get the footage. It's not, I mean, I'm glad that Morgan Luttrell went and saw what's going on in the helicopter himself. I've talked to people who have done that. But you shouldn't just have selected politicians, and congressmen, and other people that are seeing what's going on. The public has a right to know. And I'm going to work to get that footage, and I'm going to put it on this YouTube channel so that anybody has access to the internet and goes on YouTube can see what Ernest Bales and Trey Harris are doing to our county, and actually causing great environmental damage for dozens and dozens of miles. There's been flooding. I remember friends of mine, we had one of these hurricanes or storms, and friends of mine were getting flooded in Kingwood, and it's like, it's been a long time since that people are affected by a flood like that. And it looks like the reason why this new flooding is going on is because of the shoddy way, not up to code or up to standard, that Colony Ridge has done its drainage system. And, Trey Harris, like, oh, people just hating on me. I'm a saint. I've done no wrong. This is all lies and conspiracy theories. I'm Mr. Virtue. And these people they're racist. That's why they don't like me. They don't like Hispanics. And we got a lot of Hispanics here. Therefore, he's trying to evade responsibility for what he's done. However, sadly, this man needs to be stopped. And that's why, please vote for me. I'm going to pump the brakes on Colony Ridge when I become Texas state legislator. But he's expanding. Sadly, I lived in Tarkington for a while. I hate to see this happen to beautiful places where I lived, and nobody's standing up to Trey Harris or Ernest Bales. So he's going to do another Terranos, Colony Ridge, in Tarkington. He's going to destroy Tarkington. And the people just rolled over to him and said, oh, okay, you can go ahead. You can have, here it is on a silver platter. Tarkington, it's a gift for you. Trey Harris, ravish us. Ravage our land. We just want to ask one thing that you do. Please don't screw up the drainage system the way you screwed up the drainage system in Plum Grove. That's all we ask. But just take it. Screw us over. We'll let you do it. I guess he's buying people off. I can't believe they're allowing this to happen. But they're conceding by insisting that the drainage system be done in a superior way. They're conceding. People know about the drainage in Colony Ridge. And like I said, you can see this by helicopter. I mean, it's there. This is empirical data. This is reality. This isn't some kind of strange conspiracy theory. This is the facts on the ground. So let's look at what's going on here. Like I said, if you want more information on this, please go to reduceflooding.com. So this is a drainage ditch, like a bayou, right? And you want the water down here, right? Or here. So we have rains, and you want to have a black slope interceptor swale, right? Why do we do this? To prevent erosion. You want the water to go into the ditch, and you also have this pipe, right? We want the water. The reason why we have the pipes and the back slope interceptor swale is so that this doesn't fail, right? We're trying to get the water into the ditch. And what happens without the pipe here, without the back slope interceptor swale, we get erosion. And the drainage, this is what's going on in Colony Ridge, because he's not doing the back slope interceptor swale. He doesn't have the back slope pipes. He didn't do any of that. He just, this is your own fiefdom. This is the kingdom of John and Trey Harris. You can do it. Oh, don't have to worry about building things up to standard. Don't worry about the code. Just do whatever you want. It's your land. You, after all, Ernest Bales bequeathed it to you in HB 4341. It's all yours to do whatever you want. We're not going to hold you accountable. We're not going to enforce the law or regulations or environmental standards on you. Not only we're going to allow you to harm, because we have to provide for these new inhabitants of this area. Right, and building schools, things like that, the roads. It's horrible. What's just the effect of this sudden mass growth of population? We weren't prepared for it. They don't have an infrastructure for it. And he's not building a proper infrastructure. And this is not just causing flooding for that local community. It's not just causing flooding for Plum Grove. This is flooding all the way down into Kingwood. And people need to sue John and Trey Harris. If you're in Kingwood and your house is flooded, these are the guys that caused it by not building the backslope interceptor swale and backslope pipes to provide for a proper drainage system that prevents flooding. The whole system is collapsing because they didn't do this. So it's all eroding and it's just becoming a big flood zone. So, I was talking to somebody recently, and it's like, what are we going to do? What are you going to do about Colony Ridge? Look at this. 70,000 people there. Ernest Bales is trying to grow it to a 250,000 or more. HD18 will be Colony Ridge. I mean, don't think for a moment that it's just going to stay in Liberty County. He's already expanding. And this is destructive. It's destructive, not just to the poor people, the poor undocumented people being exploited by Trey Harris, not just to the burdens that we have to provide schooling and health care, and the roads aren't equipped for this. But he's doing a shoddy job. He's not building up to code or standard, and he's creating flooding that's damaging dozens upon dozens of miles. I mean, it's 30 miles to Kingwood from Plum Grove, roughly. Flooding that far. And he's allowed to do it. He's being protected by Ernest Bales. He's allowed to do this. This could be, in the end, catastrophic. I mean, this flooding, people could lose millions or billions of dollars potentially. Lives could be lost through this recklessness. These codes and regulations were put in place for a reason, to protect our area from flooding, to keep people safe, to prevent damages. And yet, because he's held unaccountable and not provide. Now, this is the way it's done. You're supposed to have the black slope. This is to prevent the erosion, to keep the ditch, the bayou intact. And of course, you also want, you want probably some grass because you want to keep it performing what it's designed to do, to control the waters to prevent flooding. So, what do you do about Trey Harris and John Harris and Colony Ridge? One of the things is like, you made a mess, Trey Harris, John Harris, Ernest Bales. We're going to hold you accountable, and you're going to fix it. You're going to pay fines, and you're going to pay damages. We need to have people like me. I will not be bought off by Trey Harris. He can take his money and shove it. I'm not interested in his money. I'm interested in the general welfare of the people of HB 18 and Texas, and this region in Texas. And this is their detriment. And we need to go in there and say, you made a mess, Mr. Harris, and Mr. Harris, you're going to clean it up. We can stop this. It's time to pump the brakes on Colony Ridge and hold Trey Harris and John Harris accountable for what they're doing to our area. And there's a lot of different ways we can approach this issue. But the other thing I'm going to do, when I become state legislature, I am going to go to Austin, and we're going to repeal HB 4341 and end the MMD. We're going to end it. And we're going to, this is Ernest Bales and Trey Harris's, they're the fiefdom, the kingdom of John and Trey Harris. Well, King John Harris is about to be deposed. And that entire MMD is going to be dismantled. It's going bye-bye. It's not going to exist anymore. And then I'm going to come in and make sure that they are following the law and regulation. And if they're not, we're going to hold them accountable. And we have plenty of evidence that they're not. Listen, I want to appeal to you out there. We have got to vote Ernest Bales out of office. And we have to tackle this issue head on. This is basically a life and death struggle for HD 18. And I don't know that the other candidates are up to the task. And I'm going to do my best to hold John and Trey Harris responsible for what they did to us and make them fix it, make them pay damages and fines, and make that the fiefdom of the Harris boys go bye-bye. And we have to make an object lesson to these people, because this is it's very corrupt, but this is a business model that they're doing, damaging, cutting corners, damaging the environment, exploiting people, taking advantage of what they perceive as poor counties in Texas. And we're going to have to say to them, you have to unite and say, no, we're not going to have it. We're not going to take it. So please be informed. And what can you do? You can vote for Dr. Missick. Early voting is on February 20th, 2024, Election Day for the primary. This is when we're going to decide if we want Trey Harris and John Harris to run things or not. March 5th, 2024. Let's fix this. You have all these, the environmentalists, and this isn't environmentalism. This is the environment, our environment, and this is environmental damage that's causing flooding. We want to protect our natural resources, our area, and prevent flooding, right? Prevent flooding. Do you like your home? Do you like your possessions? Do you like to keep your family and your animals safe? Well, this problem has to be addressed. And you can get involved, and you can address it by voting for me and putting an end to this mismanagement of Colony Ridge, and hold these people accountable for what they've done and what they're trying to do and what they intend to do. So get involved, take a stand, and let's save HD 18. Vote for me. Vote for Dr. Missick, who's going to fight for you and put an end to this nonsense. So thank you, and God bless you.
Is rethinking the victory.